Hello, my friends. Dr. Stivnugent here. I want to talk with you about our new product called Impact Plus. Some people say to me, why is it called Impact Plus? Well, our original Impact product was designed for sustained energy, or what athletes call the intro workout period. This product has a lot more. It gives you sustained energy, like the original Impact, but it also is designed for pre-workout to get you ready for that big workout, and post-workout and recovery. So that's why it's called Impact Plus. And we have some folks who've tasted the new Impact Plus, and they said, why doesn't it taste like Impact? Well, because it's not Impact, it's Impact Plus. And we've got a lot more ingredients, and of course, when you adjust the flavors, when you've got a lot more ingredients, you're never gonna get the flavor exactly the same as the original, but you're gonna like this natural citrus flavor. This is the perfect all-in-one workout. Well, folks, you know, when you talk to an athlete, they're gonna tell you that they buy some products for pre-workout, some products to keep going, to sustain their energy, and some products to recover. What we've done with Impact Plus is we've made the perfect all-in-one workout drink. And it's got a lot more to talk about as well. So pre-workout, inter-workout, post-workout, and recovery, all in the same great product. This provides you with a full spectrum of crucially important electrolytes. Whenever you're working that body really hard, you're going to be perspiring and you're going to lose electrolytes. Very important to replace them. I'll give you more details on that as we progress in this presentation. It also has the amino acids that your muscles require. Now, these are the branched chain amino acids. I'll cover that in more detail in a few minutes. Right now, I just want you to have a sort of quick look at what we're going to be talking about. So we'll talk about the branched chains and your muscles pretty darn quick. This is a very innovative blend of ingredients, including one very special complex that I'm going to talk with you about that really makes this drink really unique in the sports and fitness arena. This needs to be consumed with 8 ounces of water. Now, I know it's got a flavor that most of you are gonna like, and some people are gonna wanna take that stick and just pound it down. Don't do that, folks. It's gonna be too intense. It's gonna be way too intense. Mix it with 8 ounces of water and drink it down. And it's okay for you athletes who are really pushing the envelope, those really hard events. If you want to take some more of it in a water bottle, mix it up, and sip it as you're going through the event, that's okay too. But for the average athlete, you're going to follow the directions on the box and you're going to do really well. So you're looking at each stick is 1 serving mixed in 8 ounces of water, and that can be 2 to even 3 times per day, not just for you athletes, but also for energy. That's another benefit we'll talk about in a few minutes. So what we've done in this blend that makes it unique, well, so many things we've done that make it unique, but one of the really unique things here is our blend of 6 different Ayurvedic mushrooms. Now, that is ancient Indian medicine. So in ancient India, going back thousands of years, the practitioners have used these different mushrooms for various purposes. Well, we have combined them in a way to make a powerful adaptogenic formula. You've heard me talk about adaptogens when I talked to you about our ginseng product, GenMax. Well, this is the same concept. An adaptogen wants to help your body to adapt to various changes in stress levels. That's what an adaptogen does, and this does it very, very well. In addition, we've added beta-glucans. Now, those are glyconutrients, of course, but this is very, very important to the total mix. And something called ergothioneine. Now, you don't have to remember that, but that's an amino acid, which is a very special amino acid. It's called a cytoprotectant. That's very, very important. So we've got this organic blend of these 6 different Ayurvedic mushrooms, and this has been clinically tested, and folks, it's exciting. The clinical tests are amazing on this. Okay, so the ergothioneine, why did we put L-ergothioneine in here? because when you're working your body really hard, well, you're probably going to do some cellular damage. It's the way it works. Whenever you have a lot of stress on the body, of course, there's cells that are stressed out. So having a cellular protectant added into this, or what's technically called a cytoprotectant, this we feel is a really big benefit in this formulation. My friends, I want to give you some more detail about the mushroom blend right now. This is an extremely important portion of this total formula. This mushroom blend, which has now been clinically tested, again, the results will be coming out as soon as they're published. I know the results. They're exciting. Trust me on this. What do we know? This mushroom blend helps us to improve our workout duration. All athletes want that. They all want to be able to work out longer than they did before. This also helps to improve time to exhaustion. Now, I want you to remember that phrase because there's a difference between energy and time to exhaustion. I'm going to explain that to you in a few minutes. It also helps us to improve something called VO2 max. Now, all athletes know what that is. And basically, what it means is the efficiency of utilization of oxygen to your muscles. That is crucially important if you want to keep up that stamina as long as you possibly can. So anything that gives you significant increases in your VO2 max, that's a formula every athlete is going to want. I've already talked to a couple of our athletes from Team Manatech who've been using this product, and they are raving about it. Now, these are guys who are, that's all they do is athletics, and their bodies are finely tuned, and they're saying, this product is great. It's really making a difference for me. So hearing this from these athletes is really important for me, not just the clinical results that I've already seen. So oxygen utilization during exercise is improved by this formula. The ability to uptake oxygen and your exercise capacity. Those are all key bullet points. If you want to talk to an athlete and give them just those bullet points, they're going to be interested. And then when you sample this, because it comes in a convenient slim stick, you just give them a sample. Here, taste it, try it, see what you think. You're going to do very well with this product, better than you probably had imagined. So now I want to give you a little more detail about the branched chain amino acids. Now there's 3 of them, and your muscles require these. They require these to build, they require these to retain, and they require these to recover from stress on muscles. So you're looking at leucine, isoleucine, and valine. Very important amino acids. And every athlete you talk to, they're going to say to you, well, does this have the branched chain amino acids in it? Yes, it does. And it's in the proportion that we think you need for this formula. Now, this helps you with recovery because the branched chain amino acids are so crucial to building muscle cells. When you do a lot of exercise, especially if you're doing exercise where you want to increase your muscle mass, you're going to be tearing down muscle cells. That's the way it is. You're going to need these 3 branched chain amino acids to help you with that recovery and rebuilding, and that's why we added them to the formula. As I said, this is a complete, an all-in-one athlete's formula. This is a really great mix. Now you're going to see something else in the formula called betaine. It's also known as trimethylglycine, or TMG. Now those of you who use the product that I made called Cardio Balance, and everyone who uses that product tells me that they love it, one of the crucially important things I put in that product was trimethylglycine, TMG. The trimethylglycine, what it does is it helps your body to produce nitric oxide. Now, don't get this confused with what you get at the dentist's office. That's nitrous oxide. Okay, that puts you out and makes you laugh and all that, right? No, this is nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is known as a vasodilator. Now, what that means is it helps to open up the pathways for your flow of blood. Improving your circulation potentially improves the delivery of any nutrients to your muscles. So this is really, really important. And all of the athletes on Team Manatech who use cardio balance, they all say they love that product. And a big part of why they love that product isn't just all the stuff in it for your heart, but the trimethylglycine. It makes a great circulatory support product as well. So you've got TMG, or betaine, or trimethylglycine, however you want to describe it in this product. It comes from beets. So very safe, and it is very effective for this purpose. I love it that we have it in this formula. Now, I talked to you earlier when we first started on electrolytes, and I said you have to have electrolytes because when you're working your muscles really hard, you're going to perspire, you're going to lose some of these electrolytes. And electrolytes are necessary for muscle function. That includes your heart muscle, so all muscle function. So the electrolytes include calcium and sodium and potassium and magnesium. You have to have all those in the formula to be complete. And I have had a number of FAQs where some people have said to me, well, how much sodium? There's 100 milligrams of sodium per serving. Why? Because that's about the right amount for the average athlete really pushing the envelope. For those of you who are concerned about sodium, if your doctor has told you that you have to limit your sodium, well, then you need to talk with your physician about this formula. But let me give you some information that will help you understand a little bit better. The human body requires sodium. In fact, all living things require sodium for electrolyte function. And a human being needs a minimum daily amount of 2,400 milligrams of sodium to have proper function. Now, the average person is eating a lot more sodium than that in their diet. That's the danger, okay? But if you're an athlete, you are probably going to be tuned in to this at 100 milligrams of sodium and feeling pretty good about it, okay? Now, some people have asked me questions about the form of minerals that are in this formula. And I want to make sure that all of you understand that the form of minerals that we're using is there for several important reasons. First of all, yes, it's safe. We've had some people out there that say, well, it looks things like calcium gluconate. That sounds like it could be dangerous, or magnesium gluconate. Folks, get a grip, okay? Why would we use anything that wasn't safe? Safety is our first priority. Safety and efficacy, two most important things in Manatech products. This is a product that we hope to use all around the world. And no matter how hard we work at it, we've been trying for years, we cannot convince the regulators in every country. In fact, we can only convince a few regulators in a few countries that we want to use only plant form minerals. Well, most regulators simply won't go for it, and there's nothing we can do about it. So what we have to do is find the safest and most effective forms of these minerals. How do we know we're safe and effective? Testing, human clinical testing. That's how we know. So not to worry. Effective, definitely effective. And as I say, the study is going to be coming out on this pretty soon, and you're going to see great results that we have with this product. So some folks have said, well, if something ends in ATE, then it must be bad for you. I read that somewhere. Well, carbohydrate ends in ATE, and plant carbohydrates are good for you, aren't they? Try not to think in absolutes, my friends. I know it's the natural thing for people to do. It's the easy thing for people to do. But you know what? In human biochemistry, there are very few absolutes, really very few. So remember, with Manatech, we use science to give you the safest and most effective products always. So not to worry about this, all right? So you have calcium gluconate, you have magnesium gluconate. By the way, I was doing a webinar, and when we did the question answer part, somebody said, well, I see magnesium gluconate. Is that good or bad? So as I'm answering questions, I go into PubMed and I find a study on magnesium gluconate, well, on 10 different magnesiums actually. And magnesium gluconate tested best of all the magnesiums that they tested in this human study for its uptake and utilization. So not to worry, folks. You've got a formula that really works and it's really safe and effective. That's what you need to be concentrating on. So the magnesium, you also have manganese. Now, manganese is different than magnesium. They're two different minerals, two different sets of functions. Manganese is crucially important for the utilization of a number of different enzymes, and you want your enzyme utilization to be as efficient as possible when you're doing your workout and, of course, through your recovery process as well. Manganese is also very important for bone health. We're hoping that you're going to use this formula to do physical activity that promotes healthy bones, and manganese is going to be a necessary nutrient for that process. So that's why that's added. There's also a little bit of iron added to this. Why? Because iron carries oxygen in the bloodstream. And remember, we want those muscles to be as well oxygenated as they can be. So there's a little bit of iron in there as well. Now, some people have said to me, in fact, from the very first time that I previewed this at our presidential summit in Hawaii, we had a number of our leaders who said, you know, I don't know any athletes. I don't know who I would introduce this product to. What would I use it for? Or they'll say, they are not athletes themselves, so what do they do with it? Well, folks, this is an amazing and safe energy product. Now, I emphasize safe because most of your energy drinks, in my opinion, are not safe. If you load hundreds of milligrams of caffeine into an energy drink, is it going to give you an artificial lift? Yes. And you know what it's like? When you pound a whole bunch of caffeine into your body all of a sudden, you will get an artificial lift. That happens. But it's kind of like taking your poor little adrenal glands that are very important for your sustained energy, kind of taking them and just sort of wringing them out like a wet dish rag, and then they're all pooped, and then you're all tired. That doesn't make sense. You get that sharp artificial lift and a big drop. That's unhealthy. I'm really opposed to that approach. What I like is the safe, natural approach to energy. It's not caffeine, but it can be effective and, in fact, in my opinion, more effective over time. So if you say, well, I don't know any athletes, guess who you do know? You know an unlimited number of people who'd like to have safe, healthy energy. In fact, the less they work out physically, chances are the more energy they're going to want to have. Well, let me explain to you the difference between energy and time to exhaustion. This is a big difference, folks. Every fat cell on your body stores energy. In fact, the purpose of fat cells on your body is to store energy. This is an ancient survival mechanism. You know, in the beginning of time, our ancestors were all hunter-gatherers. And if you do any study with hunter-gatherers, you're going to find out that they don't always find food when they're looking for it. So, as a survival mechanism, the human body has an adaptation to allow us to store body fat. Now, of course, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I don't need that adaptation. That just makes my life miserable. Well, I'm sorry, the adaptation is there. And we first discovered this process way back in 1962 with a doctor from Harvard, Dr. James Neal, who talked about what he called the thrifty gene. So an actual gene that tells you how to save body fat for stored energy for that time when you can't find any food. Well, again, these days, food's all too easy to get, and usually the wrong food as well. So it's not a mechanism that we like, but folks, it's a mechanism that we have, and that's the way it is. And some of us are far more efficient in storing fat than others are. And those of you who are naturally thin all the time, well, your ancestors probably weren't as efficient in storing fat as, well, mine were, as an example. So then, you have that to store energy, and when you convert that body fat into energy, that's energy. And when people say, well, I ran out of energy, unless every single fat cell has been converted on your body, every single one, you have not run out of energy. That's scientifically inaccurate. What's happened though? Well, you got very tired. In fact, you reached your point of exhaustion. Now, a big part of this is your muscles receiving what they need. Your muscles need to have oxygen, of course. We've talked about that quite a bit already with this product. And they need to have certain nutrients as well to keep functioning before they reach their time of exhaustion. Totally different from I'm out of energy. Now, I'm explaining this to all of you, but probably you may not want to go through all those details with your new contacts because they say energy, they think energy, they don't understand this. They want an energy drink, okay? So it's perfectly okay to call this a safe energy drink. But what we're really talking about is time to exhaustion, not energy, okay? So with this in mind, you've got a safe, natural way to do it. In fact, when we sat down as a team, because as you know, we've got a tremendous team in our research and development department, we've got a really good team in our product marketing department, and of course, we have our global scientific advisory board. We all sat down to talk about what we could do to make this a safe energy product, but still be effective. Well, my suggestion was let's do a lot of B vitamins because B vitamins are crucially important in that conversion process that we talked about, converting your food into energy, and also converting stored body fat into energy. In fact, some of the B vitamins, like vitamin B1, which I call the happiness vitamin, you know, if you have enough B1, I don't care how unhappy you are, you're probably going to get happy. B1 is just the happiness vitamin. Lots of good scientific studies on that, by the way. B1 also increases what you perceive to be energy. But what it's really doing is it's lifting you up in a natural way, not wringing out those poor little adrenal glands. We don't want to do that. They get enough stress during the course of the day. So B12 is something that almost everybody has heard about. Maybe not everybody understands it. B12 is important for so many things. Does B12 increase your energy? Yes, it does. It does a lot of other things too. It's so important for so many factors in your health. Well, in this formula, you have 500% of the daily value of B12. 500%. Now, for some people, they freak out, oh my gosh, is the daily value the point at which I would die if I had 1 more milligram? No. That's the minimum that you require, the daily value, to meet your normal daily needs. Now, of course, as you increase your physical activity, you're also increasing your nutritional needs. Is it safe to have 500% of the daily value? Of course it is. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't. B12 is water soluble. And what your body can't use during a given period, you simply rinse it out the urinary tract. It's that easy. It's very, very safe and really effective. And what about vegans and vegetarians? This formula is vegan and vegetarian friendly. Our amino acids are made through fermentation on this. So vegans and vegetarians are always looking for more B12 because finding B12 in plant material, pretty darn difficult. Finding it in animal material, pretty easy. Well, vegans and vegetarians aren't consuming the animal, so very often they're really looking for B12. They need it. I'll tell you what, if you're not getting enough B12 in your diet and you add the B12 in this formula, oh, let me tell you what, you're going to feel really amazing. In fact, you're probably going to feel more amazing than you have felt in years. This is a great formula. I'm just loving this formula. B complex vitamins that are so important for so many things. I'll just highlight a couple here. B6, that helps the body to make antibodies. So that's very important for your immune system. And it helps to maintain normal, healthy nerve function. That's extremely important for athletes, of course, but really for anyone. So B6 is a really important nutrient. Vitamin B6 is also important for the production of hemoglobin, and of course, hemoglobin carries oxygen. And that's really important for your heart, for all your muscles, carry the oxygen. Super important stuff. So B6 added to this is super important for that, but also important for blood sugar balance. And of course, when you're being very physically active, one of the things that your muscles require is sugar in the muscles. And you need to maintain that blood sugar balance. The longer you maintain a healthy, normal, steady balance, the longer you're going to maintain that stamina for your workout. Once the sugar starts to drop, you're going to start reaching your time to exhaustion. So very, very important that we're doing this. Also in the B complex, vitamin B3. B3, also known as niacin, don't worry, you're not going to feel crazy flushing from this, okay? Because you get B3 in different forms, and this should do just fine for you. You should feel pretty good with this. Niacin is required for blood sugar, but also for the conversion of fats into energy. And that's another reason that we've added the B3 or the niacin to this. B1, I mentioned the happiness vitamin. Okay, I call it the happiness vitamin. I don't know if you're going to see a textbook that says that. But, you know, when I was in practice and I had people that were, you know, kind of slumping around and moping around and so on, I always gave them extra B1. In most every case, they said, wow, I'm not sure why I feel better, but I feel better. And you know what? You're going to hear that from people about this formula. They're going to start using this formula, and they're going to say things to you like, wow, I just feel better with this formula. Yeah, my energy's up, but I also, well, I don't know, psychologically I think I feel better, okay? This can help to lift your mood. So B1 is really important. That's why I call it the happiness vitamin. Now, in this formula, 250% of the daily value of B1, once again, it's water soluble. Whatever you can't use during a given period of time, will simply rinse out the urinary tract so you won't become toxic with it. You don't have to worry about it. Why did I put so much? Well, you know, I've had a lot of clinical experience over the years, and I've experimented myself with this, and I think that this is just the right amount to give us a really nice, healthy, safe lift of energy, and I think for a lot of people, probably mood as well. Now, if you want to convert carbohydrates efficiently, you need B1. B1 is also related to the production of more than 40 different enzymes. It's important stuff, and you're really going to benefit from this extra B1 in this formula. Those B vitamins are going to help you to have a gentle, safe lift right in the beginning for pre-workout. They're going to help extend that through your intra-workout, and you're still going to be getting some good feelings from that probably in your post-workout and recovery period as well. Now, I mentioned bones earlier. Obviously, when you're being physically active, I'm hopeful that all of you are going to be doing activities, whether you're an athlete or not, that helps you to support healthy bones. Well, one of the things that we need for that purpose, of course, is vitamin D. So we've added vitamin D2 to this. Now, D2 is the form of vitamin D that's found in plants. D3 is the form that's found in animals. So D2 from plants has been added to this. Your body knows how to convert it into D3 into your bloodstream. This helps you to break down your calcium properly. D is so crucial for so many important functions in the body, but certainly for mineral absorption, for proper absorption of calcium, and of course, healthy bones. So taking a look at pre, intra, and post, you can see on the slide you're looking at right now where it describes the nutrients and their function in each of those areas, as I've just explained. This can be very helpful to you, again, to show to an athlete, or, again, if you don't have an athlete that you're talking to, you're just your ordinary couch potato, they're going to like the energy idea, especially they're going to like it that it's safe. So, you know, too much caffeine, that raises your blood pressure. It does all kinds of things you don't want to do with these other companies' energy drinks. This energy drink is safe, it's healthy, it's effective. You're going to love this drink. And of course, all of the, what I call the no list. The no list is really long on this product, and that's really cool. So, no dairy, no gluten, and so you go through this whole no soy, all these things on the no list as you're seeing on the slide right now. That by itself is enough to get the attention of some people when you're making that first new contact. So what I recommend to all of you is that you get yourself a few boxes of Impact Plus. Use it yourself, of course. I do. It's great. This stuff is amazing. This has increased my time to exhaustion probably Well, at least 75 to 80% more than I have experienced with any other stamina product. Way more than I used to get with our old MPAC product, which I love that product. It's a great product. But this product is so much better, so much more efficient in so many ways. All the benefits that you get from this. Show them the no list. Show them that chart that you just saw a few moments ago. Marketing has done a great job in putting together materials for you. You shouldn't have any problem introducing this product to new people. So athlete or non-athlete, make sure you've got some MPAC Plus Slim Sticks with you and just sample them. Remember, 8 ounces of water. Don't do it straight. You won't like that, okay? 8 ounces of water, mix it up, drink it down, and it will be minutes, literally minutes, before you start to feel better with this product. Folks, you've got a great product to start sampling right now to use yourself to get these benefits. I recommend that you start MPAC Plus as soon as you can.